These are records.
Do you have Molly coming?
I am assuming she's coming. I can text her to check.
I didn't know what material to bring, so I brought nothing.
That's good.
Pen and my phone.
Actually, we're gonna do some shadow puppets and stuff like that.
I think it's fun. Sounds lovely.
Makes it interesting. Give it a few more minutes for Molly. And then I think.
She might have had an appointment.
Anthony Angelo is members, and he's just been promoted to a pretty high security.
Yeah.
So he's sometimes it's,
Yeah.
Peter Meyer is the other member, who's an older, an older fellow, and he is having some surgery and he's recovering.
I saw his email. He was in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won't be a lot of background to
You indicated Jen often.
Jen's
zooms in as
always
well.
on, she's on it now.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Okay,
It's
we
been
are,
an ongoing.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Michael Kaminsky. I'm sorry.
hi, I'm Molly Fahey.
Nice to meet you.
I'm over at Madison with the family. Nice to meet you.
Molly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, you were not.
Yes, that's right.
Meeting order at 4:05.
She's, well, I don't know. She
Let's
doesn't
skip the
answer.
pledge of allegiance, approve the minutes of the March 5, 2025 meeting. People who were there.
Yep.
Second, thank you. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. There are no members of the public here. Yeah. Okay, further review, discussion, and presentation of the Board of Selectmen. Jen sent a note to me before. She offered an opportunity to attend the meeting next week. But unfortunately, I have a longstanding appointment with a guy at Yale Medical for my wife, and I can't really change that. So that's a morning meeting. So we're still on the 28th. So we're confirmed then for the 28th of April for the Board of Selectmen meeting. It's an evening meeting.
7.
Pardon?
What's it?
The usual, to 7.
7.
Sorry?
April 28th.
April 28th. Which I think is a Monday.
Yes.
Yes.
So there's further review and discussion of the presentation. I think we pretty much locked in the PowerPoint presentation, which we have sent around. But then in thinking ahead of it, I was concerned that one thing that we don't want to do for everybody is simply just put up slides and then read from the slides. And so created this narrative. What I would like to be sure is that it reflects the members of the committee and not either going beyond or short of any of this stuff. So I think you guys have copies. Michael does not have a copy. And I did send it around to, I hope you, Erin, got a copy.
Yep.
So what,
You were talking about the narrative.
the narrative?
Yeah.
And so the idea is not to, I don't like reading things, so I will guide everything else, but I wanted to get it down so everybody can see what I may say. So you're not sitting there saying, why do you say? Okay, so the first point is just sort of setting up the scene here, and that is that Madison is a very attractive place to live for a lot of reasons, not least of which is the public education system, beaches, educational facilities that we have. Posting state highways, public transportation. All that being said, since 2010, is the base, we have a slight decline in population. Two census in 2000 and 2010 and 2020. So one of the things that we have to ask ourselves is why. And the Board of Selectmen several years ago decided that one of the problems was the affordability issue in housing, generally, not just specifically to deed restricted housing, which is our housing overall. And they took upon themselves to create, at that time, a report showing what actions, indicating what actions that the town should take.
Yeah, Mark, I can add to that, that the reason the board did that is because it was state mandated.
I was
The,
giving
the
the board a
the
lot more
affordable,
credit than
the
they deserve.
affordable
Sorry,
housing
Jen,
plan
sorry, yeah.
is state mandated.
Okay.
So everybody had to adopt them by June of 22, I believe.
Okay. Let's try and be very generous to the fact.
You can have that.
And one of the things, and one of the principal things, one of the early things in the recommendations, created an affordable housing committee, which is what we have, what we are here. This was formed a little over 2 years ago, and started meeting in February 2 years ago. And we took it upon ourselves to really begin to start thinking about what we could add to that conversation. That's really our responsibility. We do not have the ability to take any action directly ourselves. We are simply advisors to various other parts of the town here. We have met with town officials, experience in met with town officials and experience in affordable housing developers, studied the suitability of using public land, and investigated the tools of towns employ to address the issue of affordability. Most of our zoning was created over a long period of time. Some, as I understand it, speaking with Carol Snow, the director there, that some of these plans were actually implemented during the time that her father was the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission, which was in the 60s and 70s.
Really?
Did you know that? Yeah, it's a,
What?
Carol.
It's a
Snow,
legacy
that her father
job.
was
Yeah.
chair.
That's so cool.
and now the town is taking another look at all of that and trying to make it a little bit more clear. But one of the things that we recognize as a committee is that there has been a lack of municipal investment in infrastructure, i.e. water and sewage. So that the number and type of housing units becomes static. And because there's a static supply, the price goes up and the population is limited. The result of that is many older residents remain in spacious housing that exceeds their needs. Younger buyers who want more space for children have fewer and more expensive options. And needed workers, including teachers and police, must be employed, and young persons without. The input to a price of new housing is the cost of land, construction, labor, and financing. And obviously some room for various fees and profit for the developer. Our committee has concluded that of these factors, land costs and financing are the areas that are directly controllable by the community. Labor and materials are not. So successful affordable housing builders have been subsidized from a combination of federal and state lenders, supplemented by local sources, both for construction and more permanent financing. The variables are grants, lower than market interest rates, and extended terms of loans. Local sources include neighborhood banks that support increased accessibility to housing, providing ease terms and municipal options to streamline the approval process and some form of tax abatement. Does anybody want to comment on anything so far?
Tax
Pardon?
credits. Tax credits. And your-
Tax credits. Tax abatement, or tax credits.
Tax.
Tax abatement.
Income tax.
Income tax.
Yeah.
Going on to the housing trust idea. several communities in Connecticut have already developed housing trusts. The idea of a housing trust is to accumulate outside of the municipality's own usual budget funds to support the development of affordable housing. The reason why we are recommending that such a housing fund be created is that it indicates, number one, the municipality's commitment to address the issue of affordability. And it signals to developers that including more affordable housing units in their plans may reduce some of their expense. Again, there are grants from federal and state sources we hope will continue. Possible contributions from private sources interested in attracting more local labor and fees from property sales. The town of East Hampton, a citizens group is formed as healthy people who have actually privately financing affordable housing in the town of East Hampton because of the shortages that they're experiencing. On land, Madison owns a considerable number of sites that our research indicates can be used to lower land acquisition costs, which is normally a third or more of the total cost of any housing development. Some parcels may be needed for other purposes. Here, several would be attractive to developers interested in building units that are affordable. An example, Clinton is in the process of converting an unused school to affordable housing at a senior center. I think it's important that most of the committee's recommendations do not require significant investment in the short term, and some are directed specifically at the ongoing revisions of planning and zoning. I do think the town should form a task force to plan for housing trust fund and identify how the planning department can proactively promote affordable housing.
That what you're,
More
do you
specifically,
mean,
pardon?
I'm sorry, do you mean, planning and zoning or like Aaron's? Is that what it's called? Planning and zoning department?
on the
The planning
Your-
department?
My department is
Yeah.
called the land use department.
Okay.
So are you talking
Who's
about
the
the
planning
planning?
We have
are
in
you
the
talking
slide,
about-
I mean, unfortunately, we are not set up to run the slide, but in the slide, it's actually talking about the need for the town to designate a particular, within whatever department is appropriate, a person or persons who are responsible for promoting affordable housing, talking to developers, being able to encourage them, helping them find their way through the myriad processes and such like that. So, and that, I mean, we don't feel we're expert enough to say where this should reside. But obviously, Aaron's land use is obviously one of the key areas there, but so is planning and zoning.
Maybe we want to rephrase how that is said then. It's-
Sure.
We want to identify,
Well, remember, it's on the screen.
oh, I'm sorry, what?
It's on the screen. I mean,
It'll be
we're
on
showing
the
the
slides.
PowerPoint slide that says that specific.
Oh, it's gonna say all that, like how that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, this
Like
is.
who would
this
be
is
the designated person? or
We are saying that it
department?
should be, the town should designate a person.
Okay, not just that.
Not who should be.
Okay.
But does it say the planning department?
No.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
sure that's what the regulated for.
Okay.
I mean, it may be, and we did talk about this a year and a half ago, just whether or not there perhaps should be a new person, a human being that is separate from any of the other departments, working with the departments to try to provide that to facilitate that part.
So maybe your suggestion is to not say, in the narrative, not say planning department, but just say how the town can proactively. Right, because it's
Yeah,
what
I use planning and department, should not use that, that's
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Correct, thank you. And then the other one that we're recommending is that town designate all unused town land to be the first option in considering its use for any purpose, and be prepared to assist affordable housing developers with information and contacts to assist in obtaining access to the low market financing from any source. In other words, to work with, so it's not on the burden of the developer always to be able to do that. If we can identify what discounted financing is available, we should be able to provide that to someone interested in doing the affordable housing or adding affordable housing to an existing development. Is there anything in there that jumps out at you as not what we want to say?
I think it's worthwhile saying that most affordable housing developers are pretty knowledgeable about their financing sources, and that it would behoove the town to partner with them on that in case the town comes up with some local resources. You
Or
know,
nonprofits
Well, the town
Yeah.
has certain resources they can provide themselves.
Yeah.
It's not like the town has to inform these people.
No, these
The
people are
nonprofits,
already
the
informed.
developers, the nonprofits, the developers, they work.
I agree. I think I was just thinking of the guy in Guilford who did the small affordable housing development.
Yeah.
Who was not an
As
experienced affordable
articulate.
housing developer.
Yeah,
Are there people who would be interested in doing something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
The larger ones, I'm sure you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, okay,
So
I hear what you're
just-
saying. Great,
So I will,
fine, you
adjust
just
that
talk,
down.
just talk to that.
But also like, I don't know if we mentioned nonprofits here, but not to add more stuff, but like the women that came, they're doing Clinton, I mean, they're super
that's
knowledgeable.
that's the whole partnership.
Yeah, they know
Yeah,
about
they know
all of it.
Yeah.
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 Well, I think we should probably, that's one of the other items out here is actually, we should be getting more involved in what they're doing there, and what issues they have. Because it's almost exactly what, I mean, whether these buildings that are being abandoned by the school board are going to be usable or not, I don't know. And no one knows at this point until they're actually vacated. Somebody. But what they're doing in Clinton seems to be a very smart thing. They've been able to, I think it's almost 60, how many, do you know by any chance, Aaron? I think it's like, then even it's like 40 or 50 units, plus converting the gym over into a senior center. Senior visitors, but not quite yet.
I think
So,
it's good.
any comments, any questions?
I think it's good. I think it covers.
Um,
I think we should be prepared, if they ask us anything specific about the housing trust fund to, hand them a hard copy of the presentation that was given to Stacy and, Peggy. I just think we should have that.
Do I have that?
Should I have it somewhere? Good copies of it. I'll resend it to you.
That's the thing you have to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I just think we should have that because there might be somebody who's on the board of selectmen who says, well, I didn't really know about this. You know, well, here you go. And then we can talk
Yep.
about that. And then I have a list of that I put together of monetary sources for affordable housing from various publications, like the local housing solutions.org, the Partnership for Strong Communities website, Urban Institute, and Brookings Institution, and just kind of goes through. And this is not the low income. This is like for, you know, people who would be at 60 or 80% AMI. So I kind of think we should have that too, to be able to cite that. They say, hey, what are some of the sources? Well, here we go. There's a list. I think there's probably 20. I have.
What is that again?
Sources of financing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely, yeah. I agree.
and I think one of the things to say is that the trust fund doesn't have to be something that is automatically generating money. It should just be a mechanism that is available to.
It's not generating money, it doesn't
No,
have to generate
No,
money.
but
yeah.
I'm talking about, money's not coming from tax sources.
Right.
There are not additional fees automatically being levied. It's just a mechanism to get started. Number one, if we come across people who are interested in affordable housing and want to make donations to affordable housing, hey, guess what? We have this housing trust fund. You know, you can make a donation to that. And,
But we do list on the slide.
Yeah.
Ways that you could finance that,
Yeah.
although hard to say how much.
Yeah.
So, Jen, is there anything there that it sounds like that you might consider problematic?
No, I don't think so. And I like Jane's idea of having the framework of, of what you had discussed previously with Peggy and Stacy. I think that's good because I could see how trust fund questions could come up. So I think that's good to come prepared with answers for that. But no, there's nothing that I foresee as being problematic.
Okay. One of the thoughts I had was whether with the trust fund, we should be more explicit about it being a separate, clearly define it as a separate fund, not within the normal budget. And I think that we say that, but I'm not sure how clear that is, because I think that was the issue that Peggy brought up and Stacy, I believe, was that perhaps it should be part of the regular
Special
special
purpose revenue.
special purpose within the budget.
Jane, you were,
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. They felt that the special purpose revenue structure would be easier because it doesn't require third-party oversight, whereas the housing trust fund should have like a group of people overseeing it, and there are some rules around how the funds are distributed. So you have to kind of create like sort of a charter of use. And I know that the town is very thin in administration, and I'm sure they looked at this and said, oh, who's going to do this? Right? Or are we going to set up another committee? But you know what? You could set up a committee and probably get something pulled together in a few months and then have the attorney review it. And then you have something if there could be some fundraising for it. Not to say that we're going to, change taxes right away or whatever, but it's there and it's a way to collect, money and have a little more control over that development process.
right, and
we
have.
could actually as a committee do that and provide them with
Yes.
the whole.
Yeah.
Hey, Sally?
We have templates from other towns. about,
Yeah.
Yes, we
We do.
do.
All of that, so
Yeah.
it really wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
right?
Just a point of information, the housing trusts, you mentioned earlier that they might be able to accept donations. So does that mean it does need to be a separate tax exempt entity?
Yes.
And so that,
Yeah. that's
so
the- that's
so
the
that,
point.
that would mean that it wouldn't be part of the existing governmental structure.
It's one of the advantages of not making it part of the
Yes.
regular structure. Yeah, that's one of the
But
advantages.
it adds another layer of administration
Yes.
and legal oversight, and I see why people would say it gets complicated. And
Yeah.
and people, the town's bandwidth, but it seems like if you're gonna do it, you have to do it right.
It would- it
Well,
would
if you
be-
want the money to be committed only to housing, you have to separate it.
Yes. Has to be something.
Well, you could do it as part of, as I think it's Stacy and Peggy said, that you can do it as part of it. The problem is that it can be changed at any time by any board.
If it's
It
a
doesn't
special-
sound like a trust fund.
Well, I mean, there
it-
is, a-
no,
they do
it-
this
well,
for
just a
like
general-
buying a fire engine, that
Yeah.
costs, $250,000. Well, they save money in a part of the budget for that purpose.
You're talking faster, you're thinking faster than what your
I am.
point is. So
Oh, sorry.
Now you forgot to say the special purpose revenue fund is what you're referring to,
I'm referring to the
Yeah.
special purpose. revenue
as
fund.
opposed to the housing
As
trust
a-
fund.
Yes, sorry.
So you have, you have two ideas going here, and they thought the special purpose revenue fund is, it's easier to manage, there's whatever. But it's not, those monies are not delegated specifically for housing.
Or they're delegated, they are actually for a purpose when they set money
Yeah.
aside. So I say like a fire engine, you're
Yeah.
gonna put the money aside. But at any point, they can say, well, let's put the fire engine off and, we'll not spend the money. So we think it's important that it be separate, but it is an administrative pain in the ass. It really is. It has to be structured, it has to be run as a separate entity within the town. It doesn't have to be direct, I mean, it actually probably should not be. I think, believe it, in this stuff that we had, most of the members of the board or whatever they would be called are not town employees, right?
No,
This would be,
it's sort of a diverse mix. I mean, there
Yeah.
might be one or two, but it's,
Can I ask you a question? But once it's set up, I mean, how much attention does it need?
well, you'll have to do reporting.
How
Becoming,
often? Once a year?
I don't know, however,
I'm not sure. either,
probably
but
quarterly, I would think.
I think more likely quarterly.
Yeah,
than-
whatever the auditors say.
I see.
Yeah, once it's set up, you're right, it's,
How much work?
but
is
if you
it?
get a deluge of money.
Yeah, I mean, unless somebody starts dumping money in down like road.
Well, from
You never know.
lips to God's ears here, right? I think that's probably, it's possible that again, some of the businesses in the community, I don't mean the shops and such like that, some of the larger businesses in the community may find this a good thing to support for, in the way of making donations.
And I'm sorry, just one other question,
Sure.
and I'll learn more about the housing trust fund concept. But that trust fund would be able to receive grants and in addition to donations.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And it could receive grants from the town as a possibility, but we've left that out because we're just saying, let's not get into that issue of, taxes and such. But many of the trust funds do have the towns themselves making donations, if you will, to the fund, which is always a possibility. So I think, welcome, good to see you again. So that is, unless there's some other question, I think we can move on from there. Anything else? Now, did anyone by any chance go through the house, either in person or in Zoom, the first housing meeting?
Yeah, I
in
watched.
Z?
Me and Anthony.
Would you like to talk about it a little bit? Because I have the report, and it's interesting because a lot of the comments from the various breakout groups seem to be very much what we're talking about
Yeah,
here.
we did talk about it at our last meeting, but we can talk about it again. Anthony and I were at a table with Molly, and she was the facilitator at that meeting, of our table. And I mean, I think that I don't even know what to say about it. It was fairly basic. I mean, David or Ben, I get them mixed up.
David.
He kind of ran the show, and gave an overview of the story, and then people were, there was a bunch of tables, I don't know, maybe 10.
I think they're gonna do the
It
same
was
thing
well
tomorrow night.
attended,
Same thing
and,
tomorrow.
and then people just talked, and besides Anthony and me and his wife, and Molly, there were only 2 other people at our table. And it was a man who didn't get a chance to say anything, because the woman that was at the table, well, she was very concerned about, she must live near the thing that's being proposed over by where in your direction. Is it, what's the
It's
road?
the other affordable housing.
Yeah.
Cottage on
Yeah,
Cottage Road
Cottage
and Mill Road.
And she is very concerned about how much traffic and how many units, and why is everything down there,
Density.
kind of thing, and
And there's a pond on the property.
it's not, the property's not suitable, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that really took up pretty much most of our discussion at our table.
Yeah.
And so the one thing I said at our last meeting that I'll just repeat is that probably 4 times at least. So after a period of time where all people at the tables talked, then one person, the facilitator, got up, and probably at least 4 times somebody said, it was questioned at our table why we're not doing something like using Ryerson for affordable housing. And so that was a consistent comment. So I don't know, am I leaving anything else out? I mean,
The other consistent comment I'd say were about seniors
Yeah.
and young families. Heather was there also. She was just at a different table.
I had a different experience at my table. My table was very supportive of the development of housing, affordable housing. So it was just sort of a tale of 2 worlds, I think.
People selected, I mean, I'm gonna be a facilitator tomorrow night, so how were people chose to go to that table?
oh, you just sat down.
Just
You
sat-
you walked in
You're
the
just
room
told
and
to
sat down.
spread out within the room
Yeah,
and
it
you
was
pick
just
your
by wherever
table
you
and
sat.
you, yeah.
So
Right.
I have a question about this process, because I'm gonna go tomorrow, but, and I got this, and I'm like, oh wow, this is kind of like dense, right? So you have these tables set up. Do you then say, okay, you guys, top 5 concerns, or
There's
top
5
topics?
facilitated questions, or
Oh,
there's
there's
3
questions?
facilitated questions.
Okay, all right.
And there were 3 facilitated questions. at the
Okay,
last.
so all this came from those.
From those-
Yes.
Right, that's what everybody got
Yeah.
up and reported on their table.
Okay,
And our table was a little harder to
Yeah. I
get them
didn't-
back
Yeah, I didn't
to
feel like
those questions.
we didn't have a handout with all these questions.
That's
No,
the
this is-
summary.
No.
That's the
summary, I read it when
Oh,
Mark put it
okay.
together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark sent it to us.
Yeah.
This has almost everything in it, though.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean-
everything is on this list.
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't feel like there was any organized thing about what we were to discuss.
There were 3 questions.
There were,
Yeah, and the questions were
yeah,
written out on the table and they were also up on the board.
yeah. I tried
You-
fairly unsuccessfully to
It's hard if the conversation is completely derailed and you can't
I
bring
feel
it
what my
back in,
back
so.
was to the front of the room.
Right,
Yeah,
And so
right.
no, I didn't, I mean, to me, it was just pretty informal.
Right, yes.
That was my
I-
impression.
And
yeah.
once the facilitators reported on whatever was at their table, were there questions after that, or was it, that was the end of it? Just everybody just listened to it, everybody went home?
Yeah, David Fink answered a couple of questions, because I think one of the questions was about questions, right? One of
It
the,
was mostly geared towards listening, hearing
Mhm.
from the public coming. And tomorrow evening, we'll be listening as well.
No, I
And
was
then this information, then we'll look at our list of questions and
Right.
direct how the commission can give some options to some of their potential ways to address either concerns or options to address what they're saying as types of housing, things like that.
there wasn't like a resolution at the end of it,
No.
like, asking people to vote on,
No,
nothing.
there's
like
no
that.
decisions being made at this point. The commission is listening and trying to hear
Yeah,
what concerns are being raised, and then those will be narrowed down. Some of that information, as far as the questions, could be general information that's put online. Others might be specific discussion topics,
Mhm.
infrastructure, for example, things like that. Gives the commission an opportunity to see what they need to learn about, what the public needs to learn about.
Are you talking about planning and zoning commission?
Yes, this is the Planning and Zoning Commission's general housing discussions as it relates to updating their regulations.
As we mentioned last meeting, Aaron, I think one of the questions we had, and it seems that in this list of comments, what all it is a bunch of comments. One of the issues we had was that you've got a skewed audience because most people live in single-family houses. So if you have a meeting in
Yeah,
the public,
we talked
you
about that
have
last
people
week.
that are in single-family houses. So is there any, I mean, I didn't see what the three questions were that were on the table, but I mean, I would like to kind of know what,
It's
what is-
whoever shows up to the meeting is who we're getting information from at this
yeah,
point.
and your pool of people coming into the meeting are gonna be the same people regardless of where you have the meeting. They're gonna be people who live in single-family houses. It's pretty
well,
much
I
the-
mean, if you're looking at town residents, 90% of the town residents live in single family houses. So
Exactly, but
that's the pool of people that you're, but that doesn't necessarily mean that their answers and opinions are skewed to single family options, because that's definitely not what I heard
okay,
at the table that I was at. So it sounded like the folks, at least at my table, were open to discussion for other options. The person you had mentioned a little bit about Ryerson, so my table was one of the tables who brought up Ryerson, and one of the folks at the table had said, make it sort of like a vibrant district where there's like
A mini town.
like a mini town up north where like there's shopping on the bottom floor and then there's apartments up top. So they're open, it seems.
Yeah.
At least some of the folks were open to something beyond single family options.
and I live in a single, and I would
Yeah.
live there.
That's my ideal,
Yeah, I thought
that's
that-
my ideal
yeah,
setup,
that-
that's what I would like to
That
see, so.
suggestion was way out of the box that I was.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
blown away by, like,
from,
wow,
they're a
that's way
recent
beyond.
transplant from California, so they
Yeah.
bring an interesting
That's why.
perspective to it too,
Well,
so.
yeah.
oh, is that right?
So the thing, so I'm curious though, I don't know if this
Just
is.
a second, Jen, are you trying to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add in that the table that I was at, because I was a facilitator as well, was very open to wanting to see different types of housing in Madison. I had folks that were involved with different congregations throughout town, and then just also some seniors, and they said, they would love to see some more options that were single floor living. They would love to see more mixed use development. They would love to see the town take kind of take initiative and say, this is where we want to see dense development implemented, as opposed to just letting the developers come in and find a parcel and do it on their own. There was discussion about the, what kind of infrastructure needs do we have and what is limiting that density of development. So, but people in the group that I was in as well, they were in favor of more housing and more housing variety. So I wouldn't say that everybody in the room was against it or was only thinking from a single family home perspective.
That's very encouraging, yeah.
The other thing I guess I thought about when I left is that, that plan, I was reminded, not that long ago, this town did a survey, over 800 people responded. It was when they were doing the affordable housing plan. And while it's fine that they're having these meetings, I mean, what's changed in the maybe 3 years since that was done here, other than the fact that housing is more expensive? And so, anyway, I'll be curious to see, I mean, are they gonna compare these results with the survey? They already paid money for consultants to, I assume, devise everything and distribute and then gather information. But that was a lot of responses, 800.
Yeah, but it was many years ago, and I think.
Well, it's
that-
not
that-
many years ago, it's just a few years ago.
Well, I'm just saying that I think, particularly, the Board of Selectmen like to have public meetings so that people get feedback
Okay.
on a current basis. I mean,
Oh, I'm not
yeah.
saying we can't do it, I'm just saying that at some point,
Yeah,
you
but,
go, how many times do we have to ask people these questions?
but I
So you
think
have
it's
to work- yeah.
go ahead, Jen. Sorry, go ahead, Jen.
Important to remember that the work that the Planning and Zoning Commission is doing right now with these housing discussions is not specific to affordable housing. It's specific to updating their zoning regulations. So while the previous Affordable Housing Committee had conducted a survey, and yes, those answers can be helpful, that is not the only thing that the Planning and Zoning Commission is looking at as they update their regulation codes.
We're just gonna add that, because so you have another group
Yeah.
that are, fine tuning regulations and enhancing them, who are coming in and saying, hey, we need to get some information. The thing I thought interesting on this housing needs and wants is that the word rental came up in 2 bullet points. So I think there was some diverse viewpoints on this, which is good to see. The only thing is, I think sometimes when you leave, and sometimes questions can be open-ended, to your point, Erin, there were 3 questions, but I kind of feel like maybe we need to sort of distill how we want to get the feedback. Because this to me seems very broad, and I wouldn't even know where to start, and if you have another forum now, there's going to be another one tomorrow, and I don't know what the questions are. They're going to be the same, or they're going to be
No.
different?
They're now trying to put a finer point on
Okay,
some of
good.
that
All right,
information.
because I would think that you want to do that. And then the other question I have is, so you have a certain number of people that can attend these things in the evening, but not maybe representative of the diversity of Madison. You have some people that are vested and interested in certain topics that the town does. Like I have some friends that are always on committees and doing things, and then you have the people who are not available. So is there going to be an effort to try to, reach those people in some way, like do a different type of survey, maybe not as comprehensive? I don't know. I'm just kind of asking the question because.
So what portion of the population are you pointing towards? Are you in terms
Well,
of seniors or in terms of
Or
like the young working folks or just in general?
or the people who are not attending. I mean, I feel like sometimes when you go to these things at 7 o'clock at night, you kind of go have a cohort. Sometimes you see the same faces. So you kind of want to reach the people that are not normally there.
People don't show up for meetings.
No, but it's not that. Well, I mean, they're unable to. They have small children at home.
Yeah, no, the reasons,
Or-
yeah,
yeah.
they may have good reason.
Yeah,
for showing
I'm just
up, but yeah.
wondering
So
how
they're really
is-
older and they're not coming.
can we
out.
reach them digitally through some other mechanism?
Yeah, I mean, I know the announcements were sent out through a senior center listserv. They were sent out through an affordable housing listserv of folks who said they were interested in learning about affordable housing. I think Peggy probably, did she put it in her? I
I'm
can't
not sure
remember
if
if she
she
put it
did
in
on
her
that.
address
But
also.
as far as there are no decisions being made at these meetings. It's simply these are during normal planning and zoning commission meeting times.
Yeah.
They have not begun the whole public process of reviewing their regulations. This is a sort of a mini series kind of a thing to gather information. If they're, I think as you mentioned, a lot of the information is similar to what we've heard during the process of the affordable housing plan writing, during the process of the POCD, during the process of the strategic plan. There's not a whole lot of new information that's coming out, which to me means that we accurately reflected so far what, from all those outreach opportunities, that we're getting consistent feedback from people. And so I think we were pretty on point with what the goals should be. The commission will, they'll go through all sorts of public meetings as they're reviewing these. And, maybe they'll be during a different time, or I don't know if they'll get into a survey for the zoning regulations, something like that. But yeah, they have all sorts of opportunities. If you have suggestion of another way of reaching people, I'm sure they would be willing to.
And I know
consider
that's
that.
time and money. But one thing that might be helpful is to regurgitate it back to the public. Hey, we have these forums. This is what you told us.
Yes,
That
I
to me,
agree. And we're in the process of doing that, at least for an online
yeah,
process. And I think it depends on what consultant we have on board for the actual drafting of the plan. But for example, with our bike head master plan that we're working on, we created a story map where information is available for people to review. If they can't come to a drop-in public input session, they'll have an opportunity within this to answer the same questions and provide the same feedback, even if they can't be there.
Yeah.
But it could be similar, just like there, the different venues and times of day for this whole academy meetings. I agree. I think we have to look at opportunities for feedback from all those things.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think that's a good point, Jane. I think publishing the conclusions would be useful because.
And that's
yeah.
one portion of tomorrow's meeting as well, in the beginning, is to let folks know what came out of the last meeting. And
Oh, is that right? They will be doing. Okay.
Yep, that is part of our,
Okay.
the point of the meetings isn't to have staff or the commission talk at people or be prescriptive. It's really to kind of focus on people's, not generalities about housing or stereotypes, but to ask people to use their own experiences or experiences of those they know, and keep that in mind when they're answering questions. So in these examples, we heard directly from parents who have disabled children who need a place to live, or aging parents or folks who are retiring who want first floor. So that, in a way, keeps the conversation real amongst our residents, and not necessarily this image of the commission trying to rezone to bring in all sorts of people. We are able to demonstrate that there is a need existing within our community for different types of housing. So those who live in our community and those who are connected to our community. And some of that, the information that we're gathering through this, will start in our third session to start giving some of that data out as we have to kind of make it, distill it down a little bit and make it as understandable as possible. Because there's all sorts of statistics, but how do they relate specifically? Some of that, for example, are the town employees and where they live and what their salaries are, and our first responders and what their salaries are. So I'm gathering all that information to have available for people.
I think it's the economic development.
And they are
We're
involved as
involved in
well,
that as
yes,
well, yeah.
yes. Andrew has been active both in this process, wanting to help facilitate. We had several EDC folks there. And then he's also taken a role in the regional housing discussions as well, to try to find ways from an economic development perspective. So I think
Michael,
that's.
this is he's the chair. I think he's the
Andrew
chairman.
Wood is the chair
He's the
of
chair.
economic development.
And And apparently they have concluded that this is an issue just from an economic development standpoint. How can you continue to grow the town if you can't house the people that you need to work? Well, that sounds like it's a good plan anyway, we'll see. It is a question, I mean, I wonder if there is any other mechanism, as Jane was saying, trying to reach out to people who perhaps are underrepresented because they, as you say, they have kids and they gotta get the kids doing your homework and go home. They can't run out to a meeting at 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's where some of that power mapping, those lists of the community members who are, are connected with the folks most in need. That's where some of these direct meetings with them that this committee had sort of initiated a lot of that, those connections. And we've been able to keep some of those folks. And maybe there would be a meeting, at a,
I was just gonna suggest maybe
place of worship or
different
something
venue,
like that.
like maybe Brother Mike's.
You keep always bringing up Brother Mike.
Me?
Yeah.
I've never read that up before, but I've only been there once. I was thinking like, where
I
else
just think
can,
he wanted to.
where else can you go?
have beers.
to find people?
Well, you go where they are.
That's what I meant.
But I think if you went into Brother Mike and said, okay,
Can
we're
we
gonna
have a
talk
meeting
about
about
housing, you're
housing?
probably
No, I was just joking.
not gonna get much of a response. But we'll see.
Too bad
Uh,
RJ's doesn't have any.
And after this process is over, then Aaron, is somebody's gonna come in and work with the planning and zoning people to actually write these.
We do,
bills?
I have funding to have a consultant help assist in the rewriting of, the update of the regulations, which includes, formatting, and legal updates and.
Yeah, well, Carol's making the point that a lot of
That-
these things are just, a
Right.
pain to work with, actually, they're.
Absolutely, the majority of the need, there are some key policy issues that will need to be addressed in the regulations. Some of those relate to resiliency, things of that nature, and housing is a big one. So they thought, well, as we're, getting this process of getting a consultant on board, we're capable of beginning at least some of those conversations on housing, so that they have.
So the
Started
policy
this.
part of it, does the policy come before the process of actually changing the regulations, or is that consequence? The question, I'll phrase it for just for our purpose, is it, is the planning and zoning board commission is going to want the new regulations to achieve certain goals?
Yes.
I mean, and those goals would be articulated.
In the plan of conservation and development. So that is
That's-
why
that's
they
what
went
you're
through
using.
that process.
Okay,
By law, the regulations need to be consistent with the plan of conservation and development. So that's why they held off on updating the zoning code until that plan
It's finished.
was finished. So now they can go through and see, is there anything in the plan that is inhibiting a goal, or some things that need to be added to help achieve that?
Michael, do you have a copy of the plan of conservation?
No.
They're
It's
both
online.
both the affordable housing plan and the strategic plan and the POC.
Let's send them to you if you want.
Well, if you have them easily available, then
I can just send you a copy.
Okay.
Of both of those things. Thanks, Eric.
Sure.
We'll see. Hopefully, we'll be delighted with the result. So.
We may not have a big turnout. I know folks have been coming out for
A lot of
budget
meetings.
talks and an academy, and we may not have a huge turnout, and that happens, and so
Yeah.
we'll,
Oh, we'll see.
figure out next steps after that, but at least
Is
it's a
there-
regular meeting of the commission anyway, so
Is another meeting though after, is there another public meeting scheduled?
June 5th will be
Oh,
their third session, yes. We haven't figured out what time yet, so.
Not in June. Okay, any comments, questions? Then I think we did talk to the Hope Partnership about the Clinton operation. Do you think this would be worthwhile, actually, seeing if we can get Clinton Town to allow us to, or have us guided through the facility, what they're planning to do? Is that something would be useful. This is a conversion, maybe we're
How far
talking.
through the process are they? I'm not aware.
They have not done any
They've
building,
done
yet.
it.
They haven't done any
They probably
building.
have just, it's probably down on paper.
Okay.
It's all, I don't think they've done a,
Yeah.
no shovel in the ground thing yet.
At one
I
point,
think we
what,
bought
didn't
that.
someone come and
They
talk
bought
about
that.
this?
Yeah,
They
it
showed
was,
us the signs and everything.
Carla
Nothing more to be
came.
added to that?
I mean, if they haven't started building, didn't.
They haven't, no, they have not started.
I recall them showing
They
us all their
should,
renderings
yeah.
and stuff when they were here.
They've
explained
not-
it.
They've not started.
No, I saw that they were just
We should really
looking
wait until
for,
after.
I don't know, whether it was bids or a project manager, or I don't know, I saw a job that people, they were looking for that location.
But they haven't, I mean, they haven't hired anybody yet to do that. Because I
It was a brand new, within the last couple of days, I saw that.
I guess probably we should do that now and postpone it. Like to comment on anything we're doing here?
No, I just attended a few of your meetings.
Yes.
And I'm just interested in the issue. So I just drop in to,
Drop in any time, but if you have anything,
but is there some meeting tomorrow?
The Planning and Zoning Commission is having a meeting at the Brown School, the Brown Intermediate School at 7 o'clock to have just a discussion on housing as well.
and
What
how
time
does,
is that?
7 o'clock? It's gonna be in the cafe where the voting, I don't know if you vote up at Brown or down at the
Yeah,
senior center.
I've been there.
Yeah, but it's just in the cafe.
anybody, that's it. Does anyone have any other comments? Francie, Jane? You're comfortable with everything we're going? Okay. Okay, Jen, any last words of advice, counsel?
No, I think you guys are on the right track with the presentation and I, know I'm looking forward to the 28th for you guys to come and give the Board of Selectmen a visit.
We're looking forward to it as well. Yeah. It'll be fun. We're gonna do, we'll have a small comedy act before because we thought we should warm up the meeting a little bit better, but
Yes,
after that.
that's perfect.
Anyway, okay, well then you're done here. Thank you.
That's good. Have a tradition comes in this, try to come in. So.
To come in?
To come in.
How long did you come? Are you gonna do it?
I don't know.
But it's-
Oh, that's fun.